So we just got a new Gorosei member who could possibly be the strongest, as One Piece's latest installment revealed Figarland Garling speaking to his fellow Gorosei with not the same respect he used to as the Holy Knight Commander, or we should say former Holy Knight Commander, as now he is claiming he is here on orders from Imu himself, showing the respect Imu has for Garling's power, that he's willing to kill and replace Saturn through stranger means. That's, let's be honest here, a video for another day. I thought it was cool that Garling said it's about to get messy from here on out and let's make the world a better place, showing how he looks to rejuvenize the Gorosei position, who has been stuck in their ways and are stunned to see Garling take Saturn's spot, as Saturn's rings in the real world are also disappearing, which I found very cool connection that Oda tied into the One Piece story. And with Figarland Garling's hair and beard looking like a star as he becomes an Elder Star, and we know when we first saw him his hair shape was shaped as a moon with his beard, I thought it was a very cool add-on from Oda, and I can only expect a future battle with Joy Boy with his life on the line if he not just loses, even fails like Saturn did on Naked Island, saying Luffy's power was just not comprehensible and unpredictable. Yeah, he could not be living again, just like Saturn. And with an old blast of Joy Boy's haki knocking out vice admirals and sending back the Gorosei into their human forms, as even Imu got PTSD, and with the new Joy Boy dealing with Kizaru and Admiral and fighting the Gorosei right after, Figarland Garling will have to go all out and show something new to even compete with Luffy, aka Joy Boy, because we know that Imu definitely wants Joy Boy out the paint. So Oda definitely had to break her ankles with this one. And before I continue talking about these new strongest Gorosei, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe to the channel. More great content will be coming up this month. Figarland Garling is a man who extinguished himself on God's Valley and now is the leader of the Holy Knights, the same group Dragon is waiting on the world government to, of course, immobilize. But you have to understand that means Dragon has some sort of knowledge on the Holy Knights from his marine days. But I do want to talk about how he pretty much was the strongest celestial dragon, Garling, if you're not including Imu and the Gorosei, and with Garling making a name for himself on that island that had Monkey D. Garp, Gold D. Roger, and Rock D. Zebek as the triple D of power, pause, among Whitebeard, Shiki, Big Mom, and Kaido, that only shows how Oda wants us to look at Garling as a huge threat being introduced in the story. And I always remember Kaido's way of hierarchy being the strongest rule, and how even he gave the Flying Six a chance to become Calamity. So with Garling now becoming a Gorosei member, it only makes sense for him to be the strongest, especially if he gets a cool mythical power like the others. But we have to wait and see for that. And I know some people be like, you're jumping the gun, how can he be the strongest when Venus Dro has that crazy swordsmanship, or Workery has that crazy durability? I just think that Oda likes to do things for certain reasons, and the fact that he took out one Gorosei and now the other Gorosei is shocked, Garling definitely will shock us further. Now our first look at a young Garling on God Valley, the same island Saturn was on, who of course was the same age, meaning Garling could be the first Gorosei that isn't from the Void Century. But if I had to say another, it would have to be Jupiter for a reason I mentioned in my Jupiter video if you guys want to check it out. But I definitely want to say this. I want to state how Garling killed the King of God Valley before the hunt began to handicap himself in the competition and docking him 10k points to make things interesting against his fellow Holy Knights, showing how he's a phenom swordsmanship and of course confident in his abilities to get things done. Maybe that's why Oda made him execute a Celestial Dragon in his intro, and is also now a new Gorosei member. Now we see Garling tell his fellow Holy Knights to watch him dominate this competition on God Valley as a masked fella who looks pretty cool, says Garling won't win this time, which I'm just thinking, well, we know that Garling definitely did win this time. That's how powerful he was. And we see Garling killing the high value human, showing how he's cold-blooded and lethal. And the last time we seen Garling is him about to confront Gold D, Roger, Silver's Riley, and Scarpa Garbon in their younger days, the Roger Pirates and future Pirate King's crew, and the fact that Garling fought Roger and still climbing the ranks 40 years later to become a Gorosei member says everything that we need to know about this character. This means he has all three types of haki, because all the Gorosei have all three types of haki, especially the Conqueror's Haki coding that we've seen on Naked Island that Kaido confirmed made you the top of the One Piece verse. And one of the most iconic pages of the final saga features the Yonko and Buggy, Blackbeard, Luffy, and Shanks with of course revolutionaries and Monkey D. Dragon and Sabo, also Marines and Akainu and Akobi, with Blackbeard Pirate Aokiji also making an appearance, and a hidden swords many people believe to be either the man waiting on Elbaf or Shanks' secret brother. Regardless, and maybe even the new Holy Knight Commander. And last but certainly not least is Imu alongside Figarland Garling. Yes, you heard me right. Imu is accompanied by Figarland Garling, the new Gorosei who just replaced Saturn. So Oda had some big things planned for this character, and I think Shanks might even be involved. But like I said, that's another video for another day. Speaking of Shanks, I do want to mention the fact that he met with the Gorosei before Wano, and then Figarland Garling joined after Wano. Says a lot when it comes to the Figarland lore, as there's many cool celestial families like the Donkahito led by Doflamingo that will be shown probably during the 4th century as prominent celestial families. Of course, the name that probably rings bells during the Void Century is going to be Nerona's family, led by Imu himself. But I feel like Figarland Garling will be a special family. The Figarland family, as a member, will be probably Imu's ally, and another member will probably be Joy Boy's ally during the Void Century, with history repeating itself in the current timeline when we have Shanks being Joy Boy's ally, and of course Figarland Garling being Imu's ally. And maybe even his son that could be Shanks' brother. But that's another video for another day. I feel like a broken record at this point. I still think that Saturn was incredibly strong with his one-shot ability he did to that fodder marine early on in the Egghead Island arc. And of course, the Yonko commander in Sanji, people gotta take him serious for that. And of course, one of the more stronger vice admirals in Doberman, shout out to the Ennie's Lobby Buster Call, and of course the Marineford War, where Oda kind of highlighted Doberman as a more prominent vice admiral. But let's be honest here, his immortality is only cool if you're able to cause immense damage. So him getting rocked by a brain dead Kuma or palmed by Luffy while he fought Kizaru, like to him also getting double Nika incinerated by Luffy and Bonnie, that shit was not cool as a final villain. So I'm not mad at Oda using him as an example or a jobber for wrestling terms, and that even the Gorosei could fall, but only to a character of might like Imu. Now some of you might say, why not the other Gorosei not getting the same treatment that Saturn got? Like we literally had Mars get sent back to the Holy Land, Mary Joa, before any of the Gorosei. Well, Mars was flexing some immense hockey, guys. Like, let's not kid around. This guy was having Jinbei shook of his Conqueror's Haki coding and Conqueror's Haki in general. Then we had Luffy, Sanji, Nika, Bonnie, and Frankie to send him back. Like, that's an overpowered group. A Yonko with that many top characters alongside him had to send back one Gorosei. And then there's of course Venus Juro sniping all the pacifistas and slicing Egghead in half. There's also Warcurry's insane durability, taking Red Rock in Gear 5th Conqueror's Haki coded attacks like it was nothing. Also, he flexed insane Haki with that Conqueror's Haki roar. Then there's Jupiter, who looks to be a new Gorosei as well, but that's a topic I already touched upon, so that's all I'm going to say about that. And then of course, Saturn being used as a jobber doesn't upset me, especially when I'm a big fan of his replacement in Figarland Garling. So that's why I'm not going to really harbor on why it had to be Saturn. You have to understand, Saturn was sent to Egghead Island, not the other Gorosei. It was his duty to actually be successful. Now, if you want me to do a quick little prediction on where I rank the Gorosei past and present, here it is. I have Figarland Garling at 1. You might say I'm being a fanboy, but I gotta keep it real. That's my honest opinion. Now, because of the God Valley incident, and of course his new elite power that Imu is going to bestow upon him. And then of course number 2 is Warcurry for his insane durability, and even Luffy had to comment on it, and his Conqueror's Haki roar. Like, that was pretty cool. And then of course 3, I would have Venus Juro for his insane swordsmanship, having a famous sword, you could say a supreme great sword at the top of swords, and maybe it ties to Wano. And then of course we have 4 would be probably Mars for his Conqueror's Haki that had Jinbei shook. 5, I actually put Saturn at 5 for his unique ability to of course poison people, range shot dudes. And of course 6, I'll put Jupiter, since all he does is sucky. I say more, but he does have potential to move up as a sleeper pick, especially with Saturn being taken out and killed. So Jupiter automatically goes to 5, and Saturn is actually out the list for getting taken out by Imu. So I wonder what's going to happen with the other Gorosei, and I wonder how Garling is going to mesh with them, because Garling being the new kid in town, you know how that goes when the new kid in school comes around. There's always going to be a couple of haters, and I already see it with Warcurry and Venus Juro, and maybe even Jupiter and Mars. So Let's see what Oda does here. Now, the real reason why I'm a fan of Figarland Garling being a Gorosei member is the God Valley lore that he's going to spill during the final saga on characters like Roger and Rox that we've been waiting for so long. It's going to be insane. Plus, he has that unknown factor to him that any One Piece fan will be enticed by, especially if he goes at it with Luffy and mentions Shanks being a part of the Figarland family in a bad light, but that's all speculation. Regardless, if he confronts Shanks, Luffy, or even Dragon, who has an eye on the Holy Knights, maybe he knows Figarland's threat level being a former Marine, and of course his father playing a big part on the God Valley. At the end of the day, he was 17 around that time too, because he couldn't make an appearance. He could definitely make an appearance during the God Valley incident, even if it's slight. Expect to see amazing things from this huge plot twist Oda recently hit us with. I also have to mention Imu wanting Vivi and how Luffy was willing to go to Meridoras for her, so expect Figarland Garling to get her for Imu and Luffy try to stop him as the main reason for their battle. And with him being introduced the same chapter the Gorosei names and titles were introduced, Oda, you sly dog, that is why he is the GOAT mangaka for things like this. The foreshadowing was always there when it comes to Ichiro Oda and hinting to what really is going to happen in the future of One Piece.